Hello, this is Bridget Raw with Divine Essentials. Okay guys, we are going on to the last of the rites. This is the Creator Rite night. So, you are severing your connection as being a protege mentor, and you're moving on and you're becoming the mentor, but you're also becoming the creator, and you're becoming responsible for the life that you create. You're becoming responsible for creation and all things from the tiniest little atom within the grain of sand all the way out into the greatest cluster of galaxies that there are out there. So if you're somebody that's just tuning in and you're like, I don't even know what you're talking about, this has been a series that I've been doing for 9 weeks. There's 9 rites. This is something you'd want to go back. There's a playlist down in the description box or in the comment section, and just click on that little playlist and go all the way to the first video, which is what are the Munay-Ki rites and the healer's rite. And basically, I'm going to go over this real quickly because as a mentor, you may have people ask you, what are the Munay-Ki rites? And you might want to be like, it's hard. It's hard to put it into a sentence. So what I have done, the sentence I've come up with is, it's a shamanic tradition of transformation. It's 9 rites that you receive. They're from Peru, and it allows you to go on a journey of transformation. So you can say something like that. And then if somebody wants to know about the rites themselves, there are 3 different categories. There are the foundation rites, which are the first 4. There's the lineage rites, which are the next 3, 5, 6, 7. And yes, 5, 6, 7. And then there's the rites to come, which are the 8th and the 9th rite, which is where we are at right now. So as a mentor, you may find that if you give these rites to other people, you still process them very much alike the way you would as the protege. For me, like, giving these rites to so many people at once was pretty intense. I have to admit, I was like, oh my God. But I don't get sick, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have physical discomfort like probably, 5 years ago if I was like, hey, let me go give these rites to however many people have done it, because there's been a lot of people. It would be like, I'd probably get headache, I'd probably get really sick. I can remember there was like a psychic fair that I went to, and I did readings all day long without eating, and that was the last time I ever had a migraine, and that was probably 5 years ago. But since then, I don't have that happen. Now what happens is I go to sleep, and I sleep for 15 to 20 hours. So as the mentor here, in the beginning of being a mentor, you might want to pace yourself. So for the beginning of my process as a mentor, I was like, all right, I had 4 people a week that I would see, and I would give them 1 rite a week. Kind of like what we're doing here. That's why I spaced this out too, because I knew I had to be responsible for my energy, and I wasn't sure how many people would end up actually doing the rites with me. So you want to be responsible for your own energy and not overdo it in the beginning. But then after that, because I have had people asking, especially people who are watching this but haven't started yet, you can do the rites as quickly as you want. There's been weekends that I used to do once I got used to the energy and I had given it to quite a few people, spaced out. I started doing it where it would be like a 3-week thing where I'd have people come do the first 4 in one sitting. So it would be like an evening of 6 hours or 5 hours, and it would be like, okay, the first 4 rites, here you go, boom. Then the next week I would see them and we'd do the lineage rites, and boom, they were done with those 3. And then the last week it would be the last 2, and any questions that they had and any energies that they needed to go about or know about would be the last week. Then when I got really comfortable and confident, I did a few weekends of transformation, and those are really, really intense. It was 8-hour days that turned into probably 10-hour days, and it would be, broken up into those 2 days. So you can get all the rites very quickly if you want to. But I find it to be more beneficial to break them up into at least the categories, or to break them up into weekly, because then you can feel what's what. Because when you get the healer's rite, that brings up stuff from your past. It activates your ability to heal yourself and others. But, if you're doing that with the lineage rites and all these other things, you may not know what you're feeling with what. So healer's rite is pretty intense. I do often do that with the bands of power though, because the bands of power gives you a place to put all the stuff that comes up. So with the healer's rite, you get all this stuff coming up, all these feelings coming up, all these things happening. I like to give people the bands of power at the same time. That way they can take, you know, all of the stuff that they're feeling or anything that's coming at them from the outside, because that happens too. And they can either, you know, transmute it into whatever it needs to be transmuted into, because we know that the bands transmute on different levels of which one you connect with. So like earth would transmute into fertilizer for Pachamama. Water transmutes any of that like emotional stuff into like, you know, fertilizer, and it just washes away the emotional stuff that you got going on. Then the fire takes things and transforms it, and it, you know, burns it away. And I like to give like my anger to that. I give my sadness to the water. When I'm unsure or ungrounded, I'll give things to the earth. And then you've got the silver air, which blows things away. And then you got the white light that takes any negativity and turns it into white light. So I like to give those two together. And then with the harmony rite, that's one that I find doing it on its own is good, because there's a lot of information connected with that one. That's the one where you get the archetype for all of the chakras, and you want to start building relationships with them. So, you know, not mixing in a whole bunch of other stuff with the harmony rite is good. And then the seer's rite, that brings in that perspective shift. It helps you to see from somebody else's point of view. You may have a friend come to you and they're complaining about their boyfriend or their girlfriend, and they're like, I can't believe they did this, why would they do that, and blah, 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 blah. And you can be like, well, I can kind of see why they would do that. And you got to deliver that in such a way to not, you know, hurt your friend, but also in a way that helps them to understand why the other person may be doing what they're doing. Usually everybody's okay with that unless they're in full-on victim mode. When somebody's in victim mode, it's hard to show them a different perspective, or, you know, be on the other person, like see from the other person's point of view, whether the other person's right or wrong or whatever. If someone's in victim mode, they don't want to see that. But being in a victim mode is the worst place to be. So if you can help someone shift out of that victim mentality, then try to do it. You know, try to help them. Because, again, as a creator, you're responsible for creation, and you're responsible for the collective consciousness. So if you see people being in victim mode, you see people living their lives affirming all of this bullshit and constantly creating chaos and doing stuff that's not good for them or good for the collective or good for anybody, you want to try to help people. So that's what you are becoming, is a creator of not only your own life, but of creation itself. So you may have things brought to your attention, or people coming into your reality that are asking for help, or not even necessarily asking for it, but the way they come to you, you can see that they need help. Like, I had one person that came to me that I kind of like took under my wing, and it got to the point where I had to like sever that tie. But for, you know, over a year, I did everything I could to help that person, and that person eventually ended up taking their own life. But there's only so much you can do, you know what I mean? So try not to take on the responsibility to the point where you take on grief or guilt for what other people do, because that was hard for me to not feel guilty, because that person had come back again very, very soon to the time where they were going to be passing. And the way that they were coming back was kind of manipulative, and they were trying to use something that they knew would get me to respond to them, and I was like, and then it wasn't a few days later that I found out that she had passed. So just be aware of those types of things, because you may have people show up in your reality that are almost like a test too. Are you going to be the creator and help this person? Yes. But are you also going to stand in your power and take on responsibility for what's going on there? Like, you don't want to give your power away to somebody to the point where, you know, they're using you or they're not changing, because you can only help somebody if they want to change. If they just want to be a victim, then you've got to like back yourself away from that at a certain point. So that, you know, with the seer's rite, it's going to help you to see those things. It's going to help you to see the difference between people who are willing to change, or the people who are just kind of looking for someone to sympathize with them or give to them for free, or, you know, take advantage of you because you care. And then with the lineage rites, doing those 3 together are also good. So if you've already been through them and you want to go back and do all 3 at one sitting, I recommend doing that, because especially if you're somebody that went through all 3 and you weren't really sure who stood out more than the other, because that helps you to figure out who you are. So if you did the Daykeeper's Rite and it was really powerful for you, that may be indicating to you that, okay, you're really in your feminine energy. You may be somebody that's good, that's going to work with women in some way. Or you're somebody that's going to be like more connected to, you know, the sacred sites of this planet, like the, you know, Machu Picchu energy, or the stone temples and the altars and creating an altar, you know, stuff like that. Or on the flip side, being more masculine. And that would help people who've questioned, am I more masculine or am I more feminine? Well, which one of those 2 rites stood out to you more? So even just doing those 2 together, I feel is beneficial, because it helps people to figure out, all right, if that one was really powerful to me and they stood out to me more, then I may be more in that energy than I would previously realized. And then with the Earthkeeper's Rite, you know, doing that one too, because that's essentially what you're becoming through the process, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you already are that. You could definitely be very feminine, but are going to be becoming more so a steward for all of the life on Earth. But doing it in a feminine essence would be most beneficial to you over doing it in a masculine essence. So if you're somebody that only rented the rites and you're like, oh no, I'm running out of time, don't worry, come to me, let me know like that you're wanting to like do all 3 together because you weren't sure who stood out to you, and I'll give you a little code so that you can watch those 3 together and not have to like pay again. But I do think that doing those 3 together are fine to do, especially if you're somebody that's trying to catch up, or somebody that doesn't want to like take the break of a whole week in between. Especially if you didn't if you didn't have one stand out more than the other, because one of those 3 is supposed to help you to figure out your place within creation, okay? And then where we are today is the rites to come. So last week was about activating your luminous energy field, getting more aligned with that energy of the future, and slowing down the aging process, becoming more resistant to disease, and just basically reaching forward into the future, into who you're becoming, and bringing that into this now moment. So now that we've processed, you know, some of that energy, we're moving into the Creator Rite. And with the Creator Rite, you become the creator. So this is something that used to only be done like from spirit to human. It wasn't like human to human like this. So in 2006 was the first time that this was given to us to do human to human. And it was in preparation for 2012 to help get enough people, you know, awake and in that role of being the creator of their reality, being more aware of like conscious creation and of the collective consciousness, and just, you know, being aware of creation itself and raising the vibration, raising the collective consciousness for 2012, but we're still doing it, you know what I mean? So basically this rite was previously transmitted rarely. It was only directly from spirit to humans. It was brought forth and gifted to the Inca elders in the Andes during the summer of 2006. It now offers us the possibility of human-to-human transmission for all those who find themselves called to do this work and are prepared to take on the gift of love and responsibility it entails. So back in the day, you would have to be like a shaman. You'd have to be the medicine man or the medicine woman, or like Dr. Usui. If you went through the Usui Reiki tradition, you know, he was out in the cave fasting for days when he received the symbols for the Reiki tradition. So it would be like something like that, where you would have to have like a strong connection to spirit, be somebody that was already channeling, somebody that was already connected to source to be able to receive this. But now you can receive it, and I feel like what that does as you receive this is it opens you up to be kind of in that energy. So me receiving this opened me up to be like able to do my automatic writing a little bit better, to do my trance channeling without being in the way, to connect with the oneness, to connect with like information and the things that come out of my mouth. Sometimes I'm like, I'm an observer of it just as much as the other people who watch my videos or get a reading or get a healing from me are. Like, I observe it and I'm like, if I try to like comprehend what I'm saying, as I'm saying things, a lot of times I block it. There's been times that I've been doing readings where all of this amazing information is coming through, and if I'm like, wait a minute, does that make sense? Or like I try to make sense of it while I'm saying it, I throw off the whole thing and I'll end up having to stop. But when I do a reading or a healing or a trance channeling or an automatic writing, and I just let whatever comes through come through, whether I'm doing it from source or the emissaries of light, or I'm doing it from somebody's counterpart, or whatever I'm doing, as long as I just trust, speak, or write whatever is coming through, it comes through, and then afterwards I can look at it and it all makes sense. But when it's coming through me, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm very doubtful of what I'm saying, but then I'll play it back and I'm like, oh, it does make sense. And then I hit publish, and you know, the people who get the reading, or the people who get the healing, or the people who get, you know, the reading on here, or the video about the Andromedans, because even in those videos, I connect to source. You know, I'll make a list of stuff that I kind of know about the Andromedans, but then it's like that little thing that I wrote down turns into like 5 minutes of me talking, and then I get these comments from people like, oh my god, I'm crying, this is so much resonating, this is da 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 da. I get emails from people that are like, thank you so much, like, what did you do to me? I've had people email me because they had emotional, you know, connections to the videos that I make, and for me, I'm like, I don't know, like, I'm like, it just came through, I'm sorry, I don't know, but it's me getting out of the way. It's not me doing it, it's me being the vessel, and that's what you're going to become, is the vessel. So this should help you to be able to tap into that type of awareness and consciousness and energy, and be able to speak it or write it or express it with your hands, or express it, you know, in any way that feels right to you, through music. Like, I never took a class on how to play the bowls or the triangle thingy, or, you know, how to do readings, you know what I mean? Like, I did an angel communication class, but that was totally different from what I do now, and that's it. That was like everything that I do right now was self-taught. Like, I didn't go to a class to get told how to do what I do. I did the Munay-Ki rites, I did the new paradigm, but neither of those tell you exactly what I'm doing. You know, the new paradigm does help you. Like, I use the vortex to connect to source, but it's not like they were like, okay, use the vortex to do your automatic writing, or to do your trance channeling, or to make your, you know, blends that I make. Like, I did my aromatherapy class, which taught me about oils and how many drops to put into a bottle, but it didn't teach me the types of, like, it didn't teach me my blends. My blends are what's the magic part. When I put together these oils and it smells like the Pleiadian home and everybody resonates with it as that type of thing, that's coming from source. They're the ones that told me to put together the Angelica root with the Alimi and the rose and make that the Pleiadian thing. They're the ones that tell me what ingredients to put in my abundance one, to put in my weight loss one, to put in this one. They're the ones that help me with the twin flame stuff. When I made my candle that like works for everybody, that's the same thing. Like, I was just guided to do it. I didn't, like, it wasn't me, it was what they told me to do. And that's what I feel like this helps you to tap into, is that conscious availability to all of us. And if you can move yourself out of the way, it will be easier and easier for you. In the beginning for me, like when I first started my first channel, Bridget Rao, I did like these little videos where I would like a Q&A, like I'd say, leave your comment down below of what your question is for the emissaries of light, and I would answer it. So I would come on and I'd read their question, and then I'd go into trance and they would answer the question. And I, you know, be like 5 or 10 minutes. So I was getting practice that way, and then it finally started like expanding into 20-minute videos where I wasn't getting questions from people. It was just letting the emissaries talk through me, or it was becoming guided meditations where it was like a 30-minute guided meditation that the emissaries talk through me. And then I started doing like automatic writing to receive messages from them that I turned into videos. And all the people that found me through that always resonated. If you go back on this channel, there's trance channeling of me doing, you know, questions and answers, which I can do again that too. If you guys are like interested in asking the emissaries questions directly, I can trance channel it for you on a video. But basically, this helps you to do that yourself. And in the beginning, it might take you a little bit to get those words. You know, it might only be 5 minutes of writing that you're able to like connect with until your conscious ego mind is like, this doesn't make sense, let me doubt it. But once you share it with somebody, or if you have somebody ask you a question and you answer it through automatic writing and it resonates for them, that's going to give you the confirmation you need to be like, oh, it did work. Okay, let me do it again. It's hard to do for yourself because you're going to doubt yourself. So like if I have a question, it's best for me to ask someone else. Or I can ask them and I usually get the answer in a different way, but I can't like sit down and be like, let me write out my answer, because my mind will doubt it too much. But you can do this for other people. You can be a trance channeler, an automatic writer. You can be somebody that makes your own potions and blends. You can be somebody that makes your own decks of cards. You can be somebody that reads the cards. You can be somebody that does mediumship. You can be somebody that plays the bowls, or does light language, or does whatever feels like is meant for you to do. And I think that's what this helps us to do as well, is to figure out what we're meant to do. For me, I'm meant to do a lot of things. So I don't just sit around like in one area. I end up utilizing this connection in all areas that I work in. But you may find that you resonate in one area the best, and that's where you're meant to be. So trust what happens as a result of this rite. And with this final rite, you awaken the God light within yourselves, and you acquire stewardship for all creation. From that tiniest atom within a grain of sand to the largest cluster of galaxies within the expansive universe, the Creator opens up the opportunity to realize at a cellular level that Spirit is not only acting through you, but as you. We can consistently access that place of oneness and recognize that it does not reside outside of us, that it is, as it always has been, within us, newly awakened from its dormant state and ready for service to the highest good of all. So that's another thing. When you're in service, that's when things really come through. Like when I'm in service, when I'm doing a free reading for the collective, or I'm doing a reading for somebody privately, or I'm doing a healing, on hands-on healing, or trance channeling healing, or whatever it is I'm doing, when I'm doing it for other people, it comes through so fluidly. But if I went into it like ego-y, like, ooh, I'm going to do this for attention, or ooh, I'm going to do this for, subscribers, like if I was doing it in that way, they'd block me and it wouldn't make sense, and it would just be like, it would fail. But as long as you're in a pure intention, and as long as you're in service to the collective, whether it's one individual or a bunch of individuals, you're going to find that whatever's meant to come through will come through. Whoever's meant to receive it will receive it. And you don't really have to worry about all of that stuff. You just need to get out of the way and allow it to work through you, because it is you and you're a part of it. So it's working as you and through you all at once. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I know it can be like, it's weird too, because I know this helped me to like have a more expansive awareness, but like on a 3D level, just on a day-to-day, like me, you talking and chilling out and relaxing, I don't spit all this stuff out of me that I do like when I do my readings, when I do my channelings. Some of the stuff that comes through is like blah, 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 blah. If I'm talking to somebody about spirit, I'm talking about, like, if they ask me a question about, the emissaries of light or whatever, I can tap into it and it will come through. But I'm not like always walking around like blah, 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 like acting like I'm holier than thou or connected to source all the time. But it's there all the time, and it can turn on and turn off very quickly. So this is going to help you to turn it on. And if you want to keep it on or utilize it, you want to practice this and continue to like grow and continue to expand with it. So the way that this one is given is unlike all the others. It's kind of like the lineage rites, but it's a little bit different. If you have a pie stone, you want to put it on your lap. So it's a seated one, so you're going to want to sit. And it's like you're going to sit and put your pie stone on your knee. And if you don't have a pie stone, that's fine. Just imagine, or, if you have a crystal or something round or something small, just put it on your knee. But you don't really have to worry about it, because I'm going to be energetically playing with it anyways. So you place it on your lap, and then the mentor goes behind, opens Wetakocha, engulfs the initiate, and goes into the W. And this is the W that's going to call in the creators, okay? So this is the one thing that's really different at this part. And then we balance the masculine and feminine, like we always do. And now we're going to create that little tube and blow down to open all the chakras. And then you're going to go to the front of your protege. You're going to connect at your heart center, connect with the power, the strength, the confidence of the creators. And then you're going to bring that energy to their solar plexus area, their belly area, for 20 to 30 seconds until it's transferred. And then you come back to the heart, and you this time connecting with the love, the compassion of the creators. And then you're going to bring that to their heart for 20 to 30 seconds until it transfers. And then you're going to come back to connect with the vision, the clarity, the perspectives, all the wisdom, the information of the creators. And you're going to give that to their third eye, 20 to 30 seconds. And then you're going to do the forehead to forehead and allow all the information that you have inside of your crown to jump into their crown. And when you feel like that's completed, you put them back to their seated position, and then you're going to take their hands and you're going to cup their hands together with the pie stone in it like this. And then you're going to take their hands and you're going to blow into it, which is symbolic of blowing all of the responsibility, all of the energy of being the mentor into their hands. And then you put their hands into prayer position at their chest, and then you go behind them while they're in prayer position, and you close Viracocha. And then you congratulate them. You have received the Creator's Rite. Yay! So it's pretty simple. The only thing that's different is the W and the hand thing at the end. And like I said, if you don't have a pie stone, don't worry about it. I'm going to be using mine as like a symbolic thing that I'm doing with all of you. But it's again, this is something that Alberto added to the tradition. He stripped these rites of a lot of things that, like, if you go to Peru, most of it's forehead to forehead. They're not doing all this like that stuff's been added and changed to respect the tradition. But you know, being in the energy, I like to go through the whole process. But if you're somebody that's like up in your head, that's going to block you. So try not to get all up in your head about, did I do it right? Should I be doing the W right now or doing this right now? Because that's going to block that flow that we were just talking about of being the creator, of being conscious of what's happening, connecting to that oneness, and being, you know, in this energy of source and just allowing what's meant to be. So I'll go through it one more time for those of you who do not have the access to the group, because in the group there's a video of me doing it to a physical person, so you can watch it there. But basically, we open Viracocha, we engulf the initiate, we go into the W to call the creators. Then we are going to balance the energies of the masculine and feminine. And then we're going to create that tube, and we're going to blow down and open all the chakras. Then we're going to go to the front, connecting with the love, with the power, the strength, the confidence, all the energy that connects to here, and we bring it to their solar plexus. And then we're going to connect with all the energy that connects to the love, the compassion, the heart. And we bring it to their heart. And we connect with all of the energy of the third eye, the clarity, the perspective, their vision, all of that energy. And we bring that to their third eye. And then we do the forehead to forehead. And when we're done, we place the pie stone in their hands, cupped like this, blowing, putting their hand into prayer position at their chest. Then you turn to behind them and close Viracocha and disengage. So it's pretty quick, pretty easy, pretty simple to do if you're the mentor. But you guys know me. I do the meditation part where I'm connecting with source. I'm being that creator of my reality. And I'm getting you guys into that receptive place, so that it's not just like, hey, how you doing? Okay, sit down, boom, and it's done. So as the mentor, it's your responsibility to create that sacred space for a person to receive these rites. Like, you don't want to be out in the middle of a parking garage like, hey, here's the sacred rite. You know, you can do it outside. Doing it outside is really nice. There's been times that I've done it in like a teepee with like the wood burning stove going on. There's been times that I've done it out here in the yard. There's been times when I've done it in other people's studios. But as long as it's a sacred space, it's okay. And you can create a sacred space in your bedroom. You can create a sacred space in your home somewhere, in your basement, just somewhere that's conducive and nice. You don't want to be like in a gross, icky place. And you want to invite in the archetypes. You want to invite in your ancestors. Invite in Creator, Great Spirit, Pachamama, and do the prayer from the book, you know, or do your own prayer. You can turn that prayer into your own. I never say the prayer the same way twice. And then create that safe place for them. And if you want to, if you're not comfortable speaking out like a guided meditation for them, play one. If you know, play one of the ones that I've got. Or if you aren't feeling like you want to do a meditation at all, just put your hands on them for a few minutes and relax and breathe. Have them take some nice deep breaths and relax just for a few minutes, and then do the rite. When you feel relaxed and they feel relaxed and everything's good and calm, because you don't want to be all like going from like, you know, alpha whatever to like let's just go into it, because you're not going to be as connected as you are when you allow yourself to drop into your heart feeling space, when you're allowing yourself to drop down a little bit. Okay, guys? So congratulations. Thank you very much for going through this process with me, whether you've come from day one or you're new to the process, or you know, you've done this after the fact. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And let me know down below what you're wanting to do. Like I said, I'm going to do the Kotakuna Carpe Rite next week, which is one that I have not done before on here at all. So if you've done the star rites, Kotakuna Carpe is next. Nobody has this yet. I'm going to do that one. And then after that, I'm going to break the star rites up into 3 separate weeks. That way people can, you know, feel them on their own separately. If you've already had the star rites, you don't obviously want to go through them again, but you can if you want to. Or you can just watch this part of it so that you know more about each one of them individually, and then you have that choice to either rent it or purchase it yourself individually. But Kotakuna Carpe is next, and that's the one I haven't done long distance like this at all yet. So if you guys are wanting to get the Kotakuna Carpe, that's a Pleiadian rite that brings the 7 chakra energies, or the 7 sisters, the 7 stars of the Pleiades. We create ley lines of energy to your 7 chakras. So I'll talk more about that next week, and that's the rite that we're going to do next week. But right now we're going to do the Creator Rite. So if you want to join me, that link will be down below, and I will see you all over there in Munay. Namaste.